Before we get started, let's check out the links in my description. We all want nice things. We want the car, we want a house, we want a high limit credit card. But if you don't have at least a 680 credit score, you're not even in the game. So click this link here to know where you stand and get your free credit scores from all three bureaus. That will be Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. And also get your reports. If you would like to be free and become financially independent through entrepreneurship, click this link here to be free. If you'd like to get cash back, which is a discount during shopping, please click this link here to see my favorite cashback sites. And if you enjoy the music you hear in the background, please click the link here and subscribe to It's Oasis. Hello everyone, welcome back to Community Wealth. Today I have another PPP fraud story for you. Now, these people out here crazy, which is probably one of the main reasons why the funds depleted so fast and a lot of you have been waiting. Another reason why the feds are taking so long to try to put something together for PPP, if they ever will put something together again for PPP. They still working on this whole EIDL thing and all these other things for restaurants and venues and things like that. So it's not looking good for PPP, but then again, we never know. They might do it. They might do it because there's still thousands and thousands of applications out there that haven't been funded, and it just stopped cold turkey right in the middle of everything. So let's go ahead and get into the story. Feds claim Georgia couple created shell trucking companies to collect PPP funds. The owners of three purported Georgia-based trucking companies are facing wire fraud and theft of government property charges after federal prosecutors claim the couple set up shell companies to obtain $364,200 in funds through the U.S. Small Business Administration's Paycheck Protection Program. You see that? You see that? $364,200. You know how many people could have got that? Even with the $20,000, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 loans. How many people who were legit could have got that? Curtis Porch, 48, and Doreen Porch, 43 of Columbus, Georgia, were arrested by federal agents June 14 after a federal grand jury returned a 4-count indictment against the couple on June 9th. The Porches pleaded not guilty to the charges in U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Georgia on Wednesday. The indictment states that Curtis Porch and Doreen Porch, aka Rena Fitzgerald or Doreen Fitzgerald, submitted 3 fraudulent PPP loan applications and forged documents to receive PPP funds for FNP Trucking, Porch to Porch Transportation LLC, and Buckner Transportation in June and July 2020. They came up with three different companies. That's about $120,000 each, or something like that. FNP Trucking, which lists Curtis Porch as the registered agent or organizer by the Georgia Secretary of State's office, was the only one of the 3 trucking companies that operated for over a year before the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration revoked its operating authority in January 2017. Wow. They were revoked operating authority. They revoked, and they still used the information. They didn't think that was going to work. Oh, come on. They really thought. They really thought they wasn't going to check that. Wow. All right. That was 3 years prior. Whoa. Revoked. I could see if they didn't recertify, but they're revoked. Anyway, continuing on. All 3 LLCs were listed under different addresses. According to the indictment, LLCs are required to maintain a business address that is the same as the address of the registered office referred to in the certificate of organization filed with the Secretary of State's office. Court filings state that Curtis's Porch falsely stated on his PPP loan application that Buckner Transportation had gross revenues of $268,000 for the previous year, which wasn't reported to the IRS. So, you have a company that made $268,000 and you didn't report any of it? A company that was revoked, right? Oh, no, not that one. The FMP was the one that was revoked. Okay, never mind. So the FMP is revoked, but Buckner Transportation, that doesn't even exist, made $268,000 that you didn't report, supposedly, right? Okay. Just because it doesn't exist, right? Prosecutors allege Buckner Transportation, Porch-to-Porch Transportation, and FMP Trucking had no employees actively engaged in any actual trucking activities, no revenues, and no apparent assets at the time the couple submitted the applications. You didn't even have employees that you said you had. You wasn't even doing anything. Just came up with some stuff, like a lot of people have been doing. Just coming up with stuff. If convicted, the pair face a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine for wire theft, and a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine for theft of government property, federal prosecutors said in a statement. Forgivable loans through PPP administered by the Small Business Administration started out with $350 billion in the CARES Act signed by former President Donald Trump in late March 2020 and were re-upped in April 2020 with an additional $320 billion. The third round of funding, $284 billion in forgivable PPP loans through the SBA, opened up to lenders in January. So look at the penalties. If convicted, the pair face a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine for wire theft, and a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine for theft of government property. So if I'm correct, I could be wrong. If I'm correct, that's $500,000 they got to give up. They only got $364,000. They got to give up $500,000 that I'm pretty sure they don't have. And they got to do 30 years? Because they're combining them. Would it be like concurrent? Or would it be they just split it down the middle? I don't know. But they're saying and. They're saying 20 years, 250, and 10 years and 250. I'm going to leave it right here for the fraudsters. So y'all can see this. Alright? Y'all can see this. I'm going to leave it right here. But if convicted, read this penalty part for your fraud. Read that part. That's for you fraudsters. Okay? You can't just make up businesses and say you made money. Alright? You can't just do that. Alright? You can't. Especially if you're trying to get government funds. Now, it may work with your bank. It may. But I'm pretty sure they're going to check as well. They're going to check with the state, see if you're registered. They're going to check all of that. Because apparently you can make up tax returns. But you can't just come up with this stuff. And of course the lenders was going through there. They were using the fintech companies. Because the fintech company just push it through and they'll deal with the consequences later. But you're a bank, they don't play that. And apparently the government will let you do it. Well, if you're going through the fintechs and things like that. But if you're going directly to SBA, some people got through. Last year with the SBA when they were doing EIDL, some people got through. But most didn't. SBA caught that quick. Most didn't. That's why they started going with the 4506T for the EIDL, because they want to see your tax returns. Because apparently with the PPP, you're just sending in information like you completed taxes, but you didn't. But with the EIDL, when you went directly with the SBA, they want to see that 4506T, which you're going to pull your tax records. You're going to pull your tax returns. And if it ain't there, let's think of it this way. People were getting denied who actually filed taxes because they didn't see it yet. So you know, if they got denied, you never submitted taxes at all. So you're not getting anything. It wasn't like that with the PPP. The PPP was going through these lenders. The lenders got greedy as well. Just like back in 2008, I think it was. Back in 2008, when the mortgage brokers were getting greedy, these fintech companies getting greedy too. Pretty much the same thing. Now it's going to collapse. But what's happening now is the fintech companies working with the authorities to get these people. So stop messing around with this, man. Do you want to go to jail for 20 years? Remember the last story, the dude was getting what, 150 years or something like that? I doubt if he do all of that, but still, I don't want to go to jail for no time, especially for a couple of dollars. Yeah, $300,000 is a pretty penny, but they didn't even last a year. They didn't even last a year. So you did good for about, let's say, 8 to 10 months. You lived high on the hog, you bought you some cars, you did whatever. You probably got your trucking business back going, because that's what you filed as. But then when they came to get you, because remember, it wasn't even active at the time, you lost everything, so you lived good for a year. Is it worth it? Because now you're going to spend 20 of those years in jail, or 20 more years in jail. It's not worth it to me. It's really not. I'd rather stay broke, if that's the case. I'd rather stay broke and figure it out than being in jail, can't figure out nothing. You know what I mean? But anyway, people, leave your comments below. Leave your comments below. Like and share the video. Check out the links in the description. Because remember, I always say you don't have to worry about this. Get your credit together. Click the credit monitoring link. And get your free scores. All three. TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. And get your report so you know your stand. So you can get your credit up so you can go to your own lenders and get legitimate funds that you can get in like 60 seconds. Credit card approval, 60 seconds. 15, 20,000, because your credit profile looks good. So click that credit monitoring link in the description. Get started with that. Then also get your own funds by clicking the Wealth Dasher link in the description and start dashing around town, making $500 to $1,000 plus per week in your own vehicle. Or if you don't have a vehicle, click the Wealth Hire Car link in the description so you can use their vehicle and make $500 to $1,000 plus per week. And while you're shopping, go ahead and get you some cash back by clicking the cash back link in the description. If you want to know how I got 5 properties for $5,500, check out the Be Free link in the description. And as always, until the next video, let's get this money.